Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanam Bhunaktu Sahavidyam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. The symbolism is a very popular and a powerful method used by all religions of the world. It's nothing particular only to Hinduism. Every religion had used symbols. Now, when we say the symbols, don't search for the truth in that place. It's like you are searching for the treasure in the key. See, the treasure is not in the key. You got to locate the treasure box, and you have to know the lock, and you have to use the key and unlock the lock to take the treasure. The problem today is we are all having the access to the key. We have the key, but we have forgotten the key is given to us to open the treasure box. We have forgotten the treasure, we have forgotten the treasure box, everything is forgotten. But what we are carrying is the key with us. Why? Because the key by nature will outlive. That's the beauty of the key. See, the king Rajaraja Sora lived 1,000 years back. But the building that he had constructed, it is still there. Isn't it? 1,000 years. The king is no more. The king is gone. The chief architect, he is gone. All those great sculptors, all gone. All the workers, all gone. All of them will disappear. Who's the essence of the whole thing? This will outlive. The key always has the tendency, has this potential to outlive. Longer it lives, longer the key, older the key itself will be treated as a treasure box. Isn't it? That's what someone said. You just, take, 100, 100 rupee note from the floor. The value is only 100 rupees. You put it in a plastic envelope, bury it under the ground. Let them take it out after 500 years. Now what is the value of that 100 rupees? Now the value is a lot. Gupta Dynasty coin. What is the value of a Gupta Dynasty coin today? During Gupta period itself, the coin is not so expensive. See, just a copper coin. But today it has become such a great thing. Why? This is the mind of a man. Now we can't do anything about it. We start valuing things. Older they are, that itself will be treated. And then we start searching for the treasure in the key, and we lose the heart because it's not there. That's what the symbolism is all about. When you are ignorant of the treasure, the key has no value. And not only it has no value, it becomes a burden. It's an unnecessary luggage you will be carrying. It's a weight. It's a baggage. It will be lying heavy on your shoulders. It's better to throw it. But then does the key has no meaning? No. The fact that there's a key, when you see a key, understood as what? There must be a lock. Only problem for us is what we have forgotten. What key is for which lock? That's what this science of symbolism is all about. The symbols were all keys given to us to open the treasure of knowledge of the self, to know the truth, to enjoy the bliss of the truth, reality. It's given to us, but unfortunately, we have forgotten it. And now you hold on to it. This is old, this is great. Is my God superior or your God superior? Which God is superior? If not God, you will start fighting for language. Which language is superior? There's a fight. Is Sanskrit language superior or Tamil language superior? Who borrowed from whom? I never borrowed anything from him. This fellow fights. No. So much of borrowing has happened from this fellow. No. Actually, he borrowed from me. It's like kids fighting, And the best part is they call themselves scholars. That's the beauty there. It's like two, kids fight in the games, and they play. No, I did not. He is the one who took from me. No, he is the took. I can't see any difference between that and this. Only difference is what? About what you fight and whether you have a gray hair or no hair. That's all. Otherwise, what a fight we have. What we have forgotten is all these symbols were given to us only to use that as a key to unlock. And it's a very interesting thing about the keys. Remember, it's the key which is supposed to be used. You can use it in either way. You can lock the lock, you can unlock the lock. Isn't it? Same key. The same key. You use it in one way, it will lock. You use it in another direction, it will unlock. It's not the fault of the key. It is not fault of the man who made that key. They were sensible. Those who have created the key, they were sensible fellows. And you can't blame the key. You see, you got to blame only yourself. That instead of unlocking, you are going on locking. And this is not like a normal key. You got to twist and turn in a particular way. If you don't twist and turn it in a particular way, it will destroy the whole thing. Same way. The first one, you got to push in and open it to the left. Again push in, then to the right. And then that key needs to be split to two. And then push that side into that knob that comes out. And then turn it to your left, full circle. Now you have to know all this. If you don't know all this, now you don't see all this, Indiana Jones. What is Indiana Jones? Is that Indiana Jones? That's all it is. Yes, you should know how to use it. If you don't know how to use it, the whole crew will die. There is so much of chaos today, world. And we have started criticizing religion. That's why today we start calling ourselves. I'm not a religious person. And you are carrying a pride about it. There's so much of pride you have. And the tragedy is so-called, religious fellows themselves, they don't want to use the word religion anymore. Now we have started using the word spiritual. You should know how to unlock. It's a great method, a fantastic, ingenious method adopted by those great masters. And the symbols were very many. Methods are very many. They're used by them as a particular idols, set of actions, which is known as rituals. You do those actions in that particular way. That's why we can't ask. A lot of them ask the priest, why should I sit in that direction and do that? So sometimes they say, you have to say this, face to the south, face to the north, face to the west, face to the east, and do this facing south. And you go to sit in a particular asana. They say, why should I sit like that? Suppose if I don't sit like that, what will happen? Suppose if I say facing the opposite direction, isn't it God everywhere? He is everywhere. He is not everywhere is not the point. Can you see him everywhere is the point. Do you see God everywhere is the point. There's no point in saying God is everywhere. God is everywhere is not the issue. The point is, are you? This February 1, we will see. Everybody will be glued to the TV. What? What are they going to do? February 1, finance minister is going to the budget. When the finance minister is reading the budget, what do you see? If you are a senior citizen, you will see what is the budget for senior citizen. If you are into steel industry, you will see what is for steel industry. If you are in automobile, you say what is for automobile. If you are cement, what's for cement. If you are a salaried, what's for salaried. Each one will see only that one portion. And most of us will see only what? What is the tax slab? Are they going to increase from 2.5 lakhs to what? Or are they going to continue the same? That's a big question. Everybody focuses only on that. Why are you looking like that? Why don't you see the whole budget as whole budget? The finance budget presentation will run to thousands of pages. By the time you read that entire budget will take 1 month. Forget about understanding. Many times I wonder whether the finance minister understands the entire budget or not. See, budget presentation also is becoming more or less nowadays, more like a public speech. That's about it. Why? What is the total budget? You can't see. You can see only what is yours. And this fellow comes and says, God is everywhere. Are you seeing God everywhere? Somebody told you God is everywhere. And that is convenient for you to believe that God is everywhere. Everything is saying no. Everything is saying, what's a big deal? Doesn't make a difference. I invite you to my house for lunch. And I bring rasam in a brand new bedpan and pour. Will you drink? You'll say what? Hey, what nonsense is this? I know you are crazy, but can't be so crazy like this. I say, no, man, this is new, not used. Brand new. I just opened it in front of you. Why? A thought association. Remember, there is no such thing as you see things as they are. You see things with a particular association that you have created already. Now, these masters use that same principle and give us certain idols, rituals, symbols to associate, which facilitates the thought association with the truth, with the reality, which is beyond conception, beyond perception, beyond feeling. You cannot perceive God, you cannot feel God, you cannot conceive God, you cannot do anything. That inconceivable God, that imperceptible God needs to be conceived by you. He wanted to know. He wanted to connect himself to that. How do you establish the link? To establish that link, the only potential we have is the possibility of thought association. Imagine the person who is listening to that same class who doesn't know what is bedpan, right? Because first time when I heard that example from Swamiji, I didn't understand it. After the class, I asked, bedpan, what is that? He said, why all you fellows laughed? I didn't understand. It is good that I didn't understand. Only then I understood the science of symbolism. The one who has that knowledge of bedpan, when I give that example, they react in one way, isn't it? That is the only opening we have, where we can associate something to something. That association possibility, that potentiality we have as humans. And they exploited that potentiality here and made it almost conceivable. The God who is inconceivable, imperceptible God, was brought to perception. That's the symbolism. So symbolism means only that. Now, there's nothing great. It's just now we have one, they used it. What is that we have? We have a desire. The desire is to know God. Unfortunately, there is no way that you can understand God. You can't connect. Possibility is not there. Now what to do? That's how they brought in very many idols. And those idols were to be picked up from where? From the world only they have to pick up. There's no option. From the world means what? There are 5 elements we have. The world. Chemistry students forget, okay? The chemistry student will say there's 114. Immediately, physics fellow will come. 140 is not there. There's only one, atoms. All that is atoms only. Another fellow will come. Oh, there's no atoms and all that. It's all energy only. What you are seeing as mass is nothing but vibrations only. That's all. Now we don't understand any one of them. 114 we don't understand. One he says as this one atoms we don't understand. And they say it's only vibration we don't understand. We just like take it from whatever they say. But this is easier for us to understand. What is it? There are 5 things we have in the world. What are the 5? Space, air, fire, water, earth. These are the 5. This we can understand. That's not a problem. Maybe little difficult is with reference to space. Because the moment I say space, all of you conceive of space. Where? You look up. But what you fail to realize is space is right in here now. Where you are is space actually now. You think, space travel. It's madness actually. Every day you are moving, no? Where are you moving? In space only, no? Suddenly space means we all look up. That shows, ignorance of space. That's all. It's space. Maybe that's a little difficult for element to conceive. But all other 4 are very easy for us to understand. Air, however polluted it is, air is air. Yeah. Fire, water, earth. These are the 5 elements. Now, what these people have done is they have extracted how we can connect with that 5 is through the 5 stimulus that we receive. Sound, space, sound. Now we have 5 organs of perception. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. These are the 5 organs of perception to perceive the world outside. Okay. So there are 5 elements, little philosophy. Now those who are familiar will understand easy. Those who are new, you got to really, follow. Not very complicated, simple. There are 5 elements outside, and we have got 5 senses inside. That element needs to be contacted, reaching to the stimulus, the organ. The connecting point is referred as the stimulus. What is connecting point? How that gets connected? Space gets connected through sound. Through skin, feeling, air. Sight, fire. Water, taste. Earth, smell. These are the 5 stimulus through which we contact the 5 elements. The 5 organs contacts the 5 elements through receiving the 5 stimulus. That's all. 5. This is all we have. Material we have is only this much. Now, if they have to create any thought association, the thought association to create, they have to take content material from one of the 5 or the combination. Isn't it? What is the subtlest one in that? The first element of the 5 elements, the subtlest is space. Next one, how it is and all, don't ask me right now. Okay. Now is not the time for us to go into that philosophy. Right. Right now, there are 5. Then there is an order in that 5. Right. There is an order. Now, always we will ask, now, who is bigger? Isn't it? That's all. Simple. Of that, 5, who is the biggest? Obviously, it has to be the space, because space contains everything. So, the space fellow is the biggest guy. Next powerful one, next to space is air. Next to that is fire. Next to that is water. Next to that is earth. Grossest is earth. Subtlest is space. So in the order of subtlety or in the order of grossness, we speak. In the order of grossness, space, air, fire, water, earth. 5. Right. These are all, don't bring in science and all that here. Here, there is no science. This is a very, very different field. Remember this. That's why, how chemist will study is also science. How a physics student will study is very different. You see, how they divide the world, how they do it. So depending upon the divisions and all the data that we take, the data received will be based on what is the purpose for which we are collecting the data. Isn't it? The purpose. Now we got to decide the purpose first. After deciding the purpose, you collect that data. WhatsApp was created as a commercial venture. WhatsApp is not an NGO venture. Nowadays, NGO also doing good business. That's a different thing. It's not designed for. They have not created WhatsApp for this. WhatsApp was created for commercial. Commercial means what? Profit. What are all the ways in which we can get profit? They have to see all of it. That is what they will be designing. Now, you can't be arguing and saying, why do you want profit? You can't argue. That is his agenda. Now, similarly, each one of us will collect that information depending upon for what we are going to do the whole work. So the whole agenda is first fixed. What is the agenda? That inconceivable reality to be brought to your conception somehow, to some extent. Some vague idea for you to get using your potentiality of thought association. All these steps are important. Remember, only then we can understand the symbolism. Otherwise, we can't understand symbolism. Now they have to collect information. What is the information needed? They just need information which is possible for everyone to understand. Right. Now you talk about electricity, electrons. You need a technical qualification for you to understand electron. If you are not technically qualified, you can't understand electron. Oxygen and hydrogen, nitrogen. Now, unless you are technically qualified, you can't understand, which necessitates a special education. But to understand space, air, fire, water, earth, you don't require any special training. Anyone who listens even for the first time, even if it's a child, can understand. There are these things around you, isn't it? They'll say, yeah, correct, it's there. I'm seeing that. Let's use it. That is more than sufficient for these people. So agenda and acceptability and accessibility to a common man without requiring any technical education. That is why they divided only 5 and clubbed everything in that. All gases will be clubbed together as air. That's all. They don't need anything more than that. They don't have to be going into the distinction between what is hydrogen, what is oxygen, what is nitrogen, what is carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide. What is the difference between carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide? All this is not necessary for us. Therefore, they said only 5. That 5, they have to take. In that, the subtlest one is space. With what the space is connecting us to sound. So they used certain sounds to associate with the reality. But the problem is what? Everyone is not capable of associating only through sound. Not possible. The next one, very, very popular one, was fire. Fire became a symbol, representative, to connect to the thought of reality, God. Why? Because in the order we have seen, the first element which is visible is fire. Space, not visible. Air, not visible. So it becomes difficult for us to conceive. That is why fire became the most chief, widely used to represent that truth, reality. Then came earth, where they take very many objects, things, and create a form. Sculptures and forms got created using the metals or the earth, the things from the world. Either you take a stone or you take a wood or you take this, you can take anything. A clay or stone was used widely. Subsequently only this wood came into picture. But earlier cases, if you go, they were using only metals and stone. These two taken to represent. So they had three great symbols, widely used. Sound symbols, then they used fire, then they used the element earth. So taking the three, started using. Now, of the forms, now we are going in the reverse order. Okay. Let's start from where we stand. Right. Upanishads will start from the order, from the subtle to the gross. Come. We move from gross to subtle. Now, of the forms, we have now every religion we have used, and we are most popular one in Hinduism is what we would see. Few. And other religions, I am not an expert. We have some knowledge, but not that there is a proper formal education being done, not being studied in detail. This there is a chance of studying in detail, so we could deal with some of them, if not all of them, because if you take here symbols, they have any number of symbols are there. You can take a few most popular ones. Of all the idols, God representing, remember. Now, any form we are going to study, what you need to remember, why they created that form of itself is to make us the connection. The various idols, what we have taken, the most popular one, which was, what they used. The forms they had conceived of is the form of Ganesha. See, of all the gods, they took this Ganesha as the most idol the best representative for the thought of God, is the most suitable one. Of all the gods, the most perfect or fantastic visualization is Ganesha. And then we can't just give an idol. That's where they are very, very smart. Said, you can't just give some painting and leave it at that. Now you just create a painting and leave it at that. It will become like Mona Lisa painting. Let's say, who were bothered about Mona Lisa painting? Nobody was bothered about Mona Lisa painting till it was stolen. You know that Mona Lisa painting became such a popular one only after it was stolen by mistake. That fellow didn't understand what's the value of it. Something he had to carry. In a hurry, he could pick up only that. He picked up and ran away. That's all. After that, it became such a huge one. Mona Lisa. What? Something should happen. You see, if nothing is happening, it's not interesting for us. It will not captivate. So human weakness is this. We need to spin very many stories around it. Therefore, they created a fantastic story around Ganesha. He was born to Shiva and Parvati parents. Ganesha's parents were Shiva and Parvati. And how he was born, that's an interesting story they created. Shiva had an ardent, a dedicated attendant, Nandi, personal secretary. That's all. PA and personal secretary and black cat, security guard, is a driver, all in one. Shiva had this fellow Nandi, and Parvati was not having anyone, so she wanted someone. She said, if I were to have a child, at least that fellow will be there for me. Boy, because usually boys are more attached to mother, girls are more attached to father, apparently, not in reality, it's just the appearance. That's about it. They're not attached to anything in either case. But it's a general trend, they say. They have this. So she thought, if I have a child, I'll have. And she was going for bathing, elaborate bathing, like if our girls, go for bath, it takes 1 hour. Imagine Parvati has to take bath. Will take, 1 yuga will get over by the time she finishes her bath and comes back. Like that is taking. And slowly she was applying, paste. And suddenly the paste became thick. And she got that, inspiration to make a idol. Don't ask how she knew that art of making and all that. She's Parashakti. She knows everything. He's a great, artist also. Handcraft. You make it. She created one child. And by mistake, she breathed into it. Her breath entered. Once her breath entered, that idol, that thing came live. And he was standing as a child now. And obviously, she got so involved with the child. And she said, you be my security guard now. So I'm going to take bath, so you wait outside. And Shiva is coming back after, his rounds. He's going for one, round. For what job, I don't know. Because the only job assigned to Shiva is to finish off. Maybe Corona period. Had a good, visit. Had a long trip. He finished his, assignment trip, and he is back. And when he comes back, he sees one child standing outside. He says, "Who are you?" "I am the security guard of Ma." He said, "What security guard?" "I am Shiva." He said, "I don't know about all that. She has told no one should enter." And there's a big argument happens between the two. And Shiva has a short fuse. He took his trishul and chopped the head of this child. The interesting part in the story is so much of commotion is happening. This lady is taking bath inside. Aram said. Very funny the story is actually. And then she comes out and she cries. Now Shiva says, "Oh, what to do now?" He says, "Okay, I will help you to do this head transplantation. So go and figure out the first, body that is lying facing the head in the north. Sleeping towards the north. If you see anything, you bring that. I don't know whether north or south, some direction. Okay. Some stupid logic he gave. Yeah, some direction is needed, no? Like our team, leaders give that direction to the team. This is what we are supposed to do. There's no logic in that. Simply give some direction. So they gave one direction. What is it? Yeah. And the first thing, these, attendants of Shiva, all Bhuta Ganas, all this Ganas, they don't have any brains, those fellows. They just saw one, elephant, baby elephant, and they brought the head of the baby elephant. And Shiva had to do, fix that on this, and that's how Ganesha got a elephant head. And this, and all come that this fellow became such a big man. This so huge story. All the story only for what? Why we are having elephant head was placed for Ganesha. That's all it is. Is his glory because of the elephant head? No. He is independent of all that. But still, a fascinating concept to that God. To take this God, how they worship. The forms of Ganesha's worship are unbelievable in this country. How many forms, any form that fellow will be. Anywhere you can pray to him. Anytime you can pray. Like this, Lord Ayyappa is there. He is a seasonal God. Only in that season you can have. Balaji means you have to go to Tirupati only. You have that Balaji temple here. Malleshwaram is there. How many people go? Nothing there. It is not popular. Now you can't build another Balaji temple. That is not possible. But Ganesha is not like that. What is it? All that you have to do is get a handful of cow dung, put it, and place a blade of grass on top of it. That's Ganesha. A fascinating concept. How do you conceive? You see, in the world, there are only two types of things are there. There are two only exist in the world. Objects, beings. There are only two things. Objects are there, beings are there. Beings are classified into three categories broadly: plant, animal, human. These are the three broad categories of living beings. Objects. In that living beings, the lowest category is plant. In that plant, we have grades. Like in animals, we have grades, no? Like that in plants also there are grades. The lowest form of a plant is a blade of grass. Least one, most insignificant one. And the droppings of the cow you take is the another one. What is it, sir? That is also ugly. The least one and the ugliest one you take together and say, there is God in it. That's how they can conceive. This is the link. Now, if you don't establish that link, per se, if you start taking it, they'll say, why cow dung? Cow dung is a very good disinfectant. First of all, in those days, there was not so much of viruses were existing, actually speaking. They were not having all that. More of viruses and bacteria started coming only now, not in those days. Then were they making it as a disinfectant or what? The point is not that. The point is they were having it. And what is that which we just simply throw as useless? And it says, they take that and a grass of the living beings, the most least valuable one is a grass. You mix that together, you get Ganesha. And who is he? All stories, you have not gone into the real symbolism of Ganesha. It's all just stories. Very many stories are there about Ganesha. And every god is supposed to kill one demon. That's understood. That is one standard pattern you will find. All gods are there to kill a particular demon. Gajamukasura was the fellow who is supposed to be killed by Ganesha. Why? Because he had asked for a particular boon. So there has to be in every boon being asked by those people, there is always a loophole. Like every law that you amend, there is a loophole, no? Isn't it? Any law you write, there is a loophole. There is never going to be a law in the world where there is no loophole at all. Absolute proof. It is not possible. No one can write it like that. So this fellow had asked, what is he asked? He asked, I should not die by human, I should not die by animal, I should not die by like this, I should not die. I should not die with any weapon being made by anybody. I cannot be killed like this, I cannot be killed like that. All that he asked. The popular one is Hiranyakashipu. All of us would be knowing that, at least his story. Where Narasimha has to come and kill him. Like that. He asked. So Ganesha has to come and to kill him. What he does, he breaks his tusk. He broke his tusk and used that as a weapon to kill him. But unfortunately, or fortunately for him, he is a unique Rakshasa. From all other Asuras and Rakshasas, this Gajamukasura is a very unique fellow. All other fellows perished. Whereas, what this fellow did was, he was trying to escape and escape and escape. He couldn't escape the tusk. It was chasing him. No one could protect. Finally, this fellow came and fell at the feet of Ganesha. And he made him, he transformed, he turned himself to be a mouse and came in. And once he fell at the feet of Ganesha, Ganesha protected him. From what? From his own weapon. So Gajamukasura did not die. All other asuras died. These Rakshasas and all, they die, the hands. Ganesha is so unique. His avatar itself is to kill this fellow. But instead of killing him, he transformed him and made him part of him. That's why any temple you go, any picture you go, you cannot be worshipping Ganesha without that mouse. So anytime you do this pujas and this, that, everything you do, he is part of it. He also gets that. He gets a benefit of it. He is also worshipped. Wherever Ganesha worshipped, this Gajamukasura also is being worshipped in the form of the mouse, at his feet. And that mouse is his Vahana. That's this vehicle. Vehicle for him to travel is that mouse. And it is so funny. Elephant-like personality traveling on a mouse. It's such a funny one to see. It's all just stories. You see. They don't try to look out for some significance in that. And factuality of that story. Don't try to look in for factuality there. Is it really a fact? Which country Gajamukasura was ruling? And what is his wife? What is his child? Who is his father? Who is his mother? Who is his friend? Don't ask all that questions. This is what we are doing now. All waste of time and energy. All this is designed to give us a connection to establish with him. That's all. With that idol, with that personality, that idol gains personality here. Per se, it will not gain, remember. Per se, it has no value. You see, when I say this, people don't understand. Those old cannot understand. But the college students will understand it straight away. Value. What is the value of the cup in which she drank coffee and she has just left it and gone? What's the value of that to you? And he preserves that cup. And the fellow preserves the hair clip. And the hair clip becomes such a great value for him. Till when? It's not that it's going to be there forever. Value is there for that. Up to that point of what? Till she says, okay. The moment she says, okay, and then they get married, gone. The moment she says, okay, half is gone. The moment they get married, completely gone. After that, the person looks very ordinary, isn't it? They look so normal. They look so what? Big deal. They look very ordinary people, actually. Till that point, it looks so great that objects gain value only if you have affection, if you have love, if you have that devotion. If there is no love, there is no identification, there is no bhakti, if there is no devotion, then there's no value for it. For you to create that affinity, for you to create that connection to that, they gave very many stories. And then that statue, that idol, that stone will start gaining a personality in your eyes. And then you can use that to unlock. Up to this point, there is nothing there. Then comes slowly so many ideas will get unearthed. And then they explore. And how much you can explore, depending upon your capability. How much you can extract depending upon your capability. How much treasure that you can take depends on how much you can carry. You see, like that movie, Meccana's Gold. When I saw that movie, I genuinely thought gold is made like that. It will be deep inside somewhere like that. They go and break it and bring it out. They said, not till I went to Johannesburg. I went to Johannesburg only I realized gold is black, it seems, first. And then they have to pulverize, extract. And they are saying to extract about from 1 ton of rocks, they get about 1.5 2 grams of gold. 1 ton of rocks. Here we had no collar, it's bigger one. They say. Why? Because we can extract about 2.5 grams of gold from 1 ton. That's why it's very big. They say huge. It's the same way there. I thought Mechana is gold. How much Mechana could take with him? Only what the 2 horses can carry, that's all. Nothing more. It may be there so much, but how much you can take with you depends on each one of us. Same way, these idols have so much of content in it. The content you will find there is some commonalities and some variation. Uniqueness will be there. What is common to all the idols, all the rituals? One thing is common. That is, the idol should be representing the truth. So, something of that idol should be connecting to the truth in some way. If that is not happening, then it will be of no use. Then it's not an idol. It is just a stone. But can you go through that process to extract that material for which you need an affinity, you need a closeness to that. To create that affinity and closeness, they had so many stories spun around. And don't think that stories are just stories. But at the same time, you can't say they are just the fictitious ones. Fictional in character. You can't say it is fictional story. Because fiction doesn't carry these things. So that is why they are separately classified as Puranas. And Ganesha Purana is there. There is one Purana. Ganesha Purana. Upa Purana. Telling the story, and Ganesha appears in all forms. And what is so interesting about Ganesha is you have to do any worship. First thing you have to do is what? Worship Ganesha. And you wanted to perform Ganesha Puja. Saraswati Puja you had to perform Ganesha Puja first and then Saraswati Puja. Durga Puja you do, Satyanarayan Puja you wanted to do first Ganesha Puja and then Satyanarayan Puja. Understandable. What is so peculiar is you have to make a puja for Ganesha. Ganesha Chaturthi day you perform puja to Ganesha. To perform puja to Ganesha, you have to perform puja to Ganesha. Do Ganesha Puja and then do Ganesha Puja. I said, madness. What is this? The first worship always has to be only for Ganesha as a rule. Without worshipping him, no worship can be done. So therefore, he is a chief. He's a chief of all that. He's a great one. So Ganesha you want to worship, you have to worship Ganesha. Why they have to do it, sir? Why Ganesha was given such a prominence? The prominence was provided because the picturization of Ganesha, the personality of Ganesha, gives completion in it. No other picturization is so complete like that of Ganesha. Because Ganesha represents the state of perfection and the path to that perfection. Both are there in Ganesha. If you take Shivalinga, for example, or you take Aturbuja Vishnu, for example, or you take Durga, or any god for that matter, they will be representing a particular portion, particular dimension of the truth, or they will be depicting the method to reach there. Right. Dakshinamurti gives only one aspect of it. Silence. But silence is the last one you can do. That's not for everyone. Everyone cannot do it. The Dakshinamurti cannot be followed by everybody. That is why he had only 4 students. Dakshinamurti had only 4 fellows. Eternally, he is having only 4 fellows. No increase at all. Why? No one can connect to him. Whereas Ganesha, as a picture, beautiful blend of both these aspects of how to reach to that state of perfection, plus what is that state of perfection? What is that state of a perfect individual? When you reach, if at all there is a thing called perfection possibility, what could be that? How that fellow could be? How that personality would be? And what is the way that we can follow the path and reach? That is why he has given that elephant head. Why? In the jungle, elephants were the one who are the path makers. You know that? In the forest, elephants were designed as a path makers. They make the path. As they go, they create a path and go. Then all other things can follow it. So they wanted to create that. That's why he is given time. They had seen this and they say, fantastic one for this person. So best representation is what? From all this is elephant. So what to do now? Put that elephant head on him. So human body and elephant head. Like Narasimha. Lion head, human body. Like that. He is elephant head. And this elephant headed God has so many variations. So much of variations and beautiful. And so many, slokas and stotras are there on Ganesha. The one which we heard at the beginning, the class is written by Shankara. Explaining the greatness of Ganesha. What is this Ganesha? A beautiful stotra by him. Ganesha Pancharatna. Pancharatna means 5, ratnas, gems, 5 gems on Ganesha by Adi Shankara. Now, that Ganesha personality gives a complete picturization. Now, any venture you start in your life, first thing that you need to understand what is needed for us to have a clarity in life is to know where I have to go and how to reach there. Now, here in religion, religion's role is to give you that inspiration to reach to that goal of perfection and the path to perfection. And Ganesha, this personality picture, is the most perfect suited in every aspect of perfection. And total path is also been defined, cleared there. Therefore, they said, any worship you do, first worship Ganesha. Remember him and then do. Remember him and then do. Remember him and then do. And what is his job? What is the unique job of Ganesha? Sarva Vigno Upashante, says now. Vigneshwara is known as Vigneshwara, means the Lord of obstacles. Vigna means obstacle. Obstacle where? Obstacle anywhere. Obstacle to everyone, anything, any obstacle. So, you want to be successful in the materialistic realm or you want to become successful in the spiritual realm, doesn't make a difference. Any obstacle that you get, you need to remove that obstacle. Who is going to remove that obstacle? How that obstacle can be removed? You can't remove it. Something beyond you have to intervene and remove that obstacle. So any venture you start, anything you do, first thing you have to do is Ganesha. Actually, in the olden days, when they write a letter, postcard, letter you see, olden days, old people when they write, they put that symbol of Ganesha. Without writing symbol of Ganesha, even a letter will not be written. Everything. That's why he is named as Ganadipataye Namah. One of the names, Ganadipati. Ganapati. One, Ganapati means, Pati means Lord. Gana means the Bhuta Ganas, the attendants of Shiva. He is the chief general of that one. But beyond all that, they said Ganadipati means Ganapati means he is the master of language, letters. That is why they write him. That Ganesha symbol is written first, remembering him, and then they inquire. How are you? It's raining here a lot. We are not having this problem, that problem. Send me some money. It's emergency. And it will reach after 1 month. The letter they'll write. What is that, sir? Only for connection. Ghana has another meaning. In language, in Sanskrit, you have that 4 will come. Ka, pa, tha, all that. Ma, these are the 4. 4. Ka, gha, gha, cha, cha, ja. All that collection is referred as Gana. So Ganapati means the one who is the master of letters. That is why Vyasa requested Ganesha to write Mahabharata. as a scribe. Vyasa was dictating, Ganesha was writing that story. That's a Mahabharata story we have. Such a huge one. And to write at the speed of speaking, doesn't matter who speaks. Word to word is not possible. You need such proficiency. Such speed is needed. For that, there's another story where Ganesha broke his tusk and used that as a pen to write on the palm leaves. So that is why Ganesha is remembered before writing anything. Whatever you do in our culture, anything that is done first is Ganesha. Why? Because he is the one who will remove the obstacle for the worship. That is why we worship him first to worship him. Because in his worship, there are so many obstacles can come. What are the obstacles? Suddenly the laptop will go off. An obstacle. Laptop will suddenly go off. You can't understand why it is gone, what happened. Nothing you know. Suddenly it goes off. That's it. Now what can you do? If you had worshipped Ganesha, then you will have a stand-up, standby. Laptop will be there. He will provide so that you can continue your things. Otherwise, what? You will not know what happened. This happened, that happened. Suddenly, this, you can't communicate like that. So many obstacles will come. Any pursuit that you have, obstacles are bound to be there. Now, how you can overcome that obstacle? That is only by the grace of the divine in the form of Ganesha. That's all. It's not that only Ganesha is going to do it. No, it's not like that. It's the divine is the one who has to, something beyond you. That's all. Divine in the sense you can't remove it. You are subjected to that obstacle. You are constrained by that obstacle. Now, how do you have the power to remove that obstacle? You don't have that power. So therefore, someone who is bigger than you has to come. And that fellow cannot be kept as a tiny fellow. He has to be kept as a huge one, like an elephant. He enters, everyone will recognize. You cannot miss him. He's such a powerful one. Yes. So he will remove it. So any worship you do. That's why those who go for exams, they worship Ganesha and go. Why? They have to write, no? I should not, forget things, forget this or all that. But it has worked, At least it has worked for me. I don't know for you people, it has worked for me. I used to go. Otherwise, I was not a great fan of Ganesha. Only during exam I go. I'll go there and do one puja and come. That's it. You pass the exam. I just managed to pass. That's all. Enough, actually. Whatever you want, you will get it. So, Ganesha is the first god to be worshipped. Even though his father is there, Shiva, Parvati and all. No. And you will find, surprisingly, practically every god has worshipped Ganesha. Every one of them. Whether it is Shiva himself or Parvati herself, Vishnu, Krishna, Rama, every one of them had worshipped Ganesha before they ventured onto anything. Any venture they go to. And what is interesting is, any venture they go into without worshipping Ganesha got into trouble. They couldn't complete it. From Amrita Matana to the whole thing, you see, they couldn't. This happened, that happened. So then they realize, oh my God, I forgot to worship Ganesha. They go back worship Ganesha, and done. Why? You disregard him and go away and come back, he accepts you. He doesn't reject. That's the beauty of it. That's why he is kept as elephant. What is the nature of elephant? I've seen how these people, ride, get on top of elephant. Hmm? How they get on top of elephant. The fellow will go and tap the leg. He will go and touch the leg. The moment he goes and touches the legs, immediately that elephant will bend. And then what this guy will do? He will put one leg on top, like a step. And then he will hold the ear and ride over. Now you can't put a ladder and climb. That's not possible. So if you go and touch the feet of Ganesha, what he does? He takes you on top of him. Not only he raises your level, he raises your position above his position. That's the beauty of Ganesha. That is why they kept the elephant form for him. So I've given two reasons for you today. Why elephant form for Ganesha? One is story. Don't worry about the story. First element, first animal they saw, lying on the south. They chopped the head of that and they brought a last story. That's just to keep that interesting. That's about it. But really speaking, there are so many ideas in it. One is it's the pathfinder. Two, elephant has a unique property of allowing bending itself for the person to raise. You see, very unique. Now you want to ride a horse. Horse will not bend itself and say, please get on top of me. It will not. Elephant is the only animal which bends its feet. All that you have to do is what? Go and touch its feet. Same way, all that you have to do is what? Just go and surrender to Ganesha. That's it. You don't have to do anything. It will raise you by itself. He will use his trunk and take you and place him on top of it. You can be on top. You want to succeed in the world. You want to go on top. All that you have to do is what? So all those who are aspiring for promotion, what you should do? Surrender to Ganesha. He will take you up. Promotion will come. Now 360-degree appraisal, this, that, and all, nothing. He will simply take you and put you there. That is the beauty of Ganesha. That's the beauty of elephant. That is why Ganesha is given in the form of an elephant one. These are all devotional angles. Okay. First one is very, very local. Elephant is a pathfinder. So what? But it is a good idea to start with. Next is we go to something slightly subtler. Finer than that is what? A devotional aspect. A devotional interpretation. Why Ganesha had elephant? First one is story. Second one is something, weird example, weird explanation. Like nowadays for everything we have weird explanation. Like the cow dung is there. It's a disinfectant. First of all, there is no infection. Now, why do you have to put a disinfectant there? Still, they say, why you do this and all. That is one way, correct. But not so appealing. That doesn't still just justify why he has to be kept as number one. Then you probe a little. Then we identify what the behavior of an elephant. From where we understand, you surrender to him. You just go and touch his feet, he takes you up. On top of him, you can go. Correct. Then comes the next layer of analysis, where we do intellectually. So one, story. Two is something, practical, something as a, factual one. Third one is devotional. The fourth one is intellectual aspect. At the intellectual aspect only, we understand that personality of Ganesha, this idol Ganesha, has both fused the path and the destination. The goal and the way, both are represented there. How we'll see in the next session. Right. Thank you.